Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, May 11th, 2026, and I have a minuscule amount of Big Brother news, and I'm going to spend the rest of the time talking about my adventures last night on a 3.5-hour online reality game called Spotlight. So those of you that are interested, stay for it. Otherwise, we'll just get through the Big Brother stuff real quick here. So, I thought casting was over. A lot of us are expecting the announcement today of or not today, but this week of a premiere date. We don't know. But what we do know is that several casting people involved in casting, which I'm kind of amazed at how many there seem to be now, online. There's lots of people that identify themselves as involved with casting for Big Brother, and they all seem legit. So they are all, not all of them, but several of them I noticed were posting again about you need get in your applications. There's still time. Like, it's wrapping up, but there's still time. It's like, wait, what? We thought it was done. It ain't done yet, apparently. So you still have time. It's BigBrotherCasting.tv, I think, is the official website. And so, get it done this week if you're going to do it. They may still be announcing the premiere date this week. We don't know. But the fact that they still have them officially open is interesting. Now, even after they closed them, they may still cast people. Understand that. That doesn't mean they're not casting. But apparently they're still looking for one or two people that match exactly what they need. All right, so that's it for the Big Brother news. Other than I do plan on going to the premiere party this summer, whenever it happens to be. We're thinking in July, usually a 2-night party. So that's penciled in for me for early July. We'll see. The other thing I have, and again, this may be a very niche part of my limited audience, is my time last night on a online reality game that I discovered a couple of weeks ago called Spotlight. And I didn't talk about it much because I applied for it after I learned about it and watched it and thought, this would be cool. I want to be on it. And, me being paranoid and thinking, somebody might know who I am and target me. I don't want to announce anything. And you're not supposed to really say you're going to be on it either ahead of time, by the way. But I thought I would go through my view of the show without having watched it back yet. I mean, I've caught bits and pieces already. I kind of know some of the things that were going on, but I haven't actually watched it, and that will be given the actual opportunity to see it for myself. But to give you a bit of background, it's a show developed by a group of people, many of which were on the show that I was on 6 years ago last Friday, actually. My 6-year anniversary of the first episode the first, quote, season I was on was last Friday, called Sequester, right? Created by Audrey from Big Brother, known for being on Big Brother 17. Big Brother 17, was it? Big Brother. We think it was 17. I think it was 17. So I'm trying to think here what I want to say. So let's just cut right to the chase because I've got a limited amount of time. I've got about 25 minutes to talk about this, and I would like to go through most of it to give you my thoughts. All right, I am now pulling up the cast list because that is going to be my one thing. This is the one difference between this show and Sequester. Well, one of the differences is that it's very fast. You don't have a lot of time to talk one-on-one with people or even in groups. It's very isolating in some ways. You spend a lot of time by yourself just waiting for things to happen, which is okay. When they happen, though, they happen so fast, which is a blessing and a curse in some ways. It's definitely a different feel in some ways than Sequester was, but again, it was a good time. So it starts out with 13 people, and I knew going in I could easily be a target because I'm going to be the oldest person in the room. I am probably not a known quantity. That was my thinking. but I could also be a known quantity. That was my other thinking. There was very good possibility that someone that was playing the game would possibly recognize me from having played Sequester, even though it was 6 years ago, and might say, he's played games, we should get him out. Any reason to get someone out, any reason to put a target on someone is reason enough for people when you're trying to come up with something. So I was a bit paranoid about it, so I certainly wasn't going to identify myself as being, online or doing a bunch of stuff. I just wasn't going to do that. There are certain people that do identify as that, and that will carry them far, but it also often is a reason that they get voted out, because it's like, okay, we brought them a long ways, now it's time for them to go. So I didn't say anything other than we're supposed to say your age and where you're from, so I had to throw out my age, which put me the next closest person to my age, I think, was Paige. I think Paige is 39. Yeah, I don't have her name on my list at this point now, but I think Paige is 39. So it was like, I'm over 20 years older than everybody else on this place, and that's going to be probably a hindrance. But I know that going in, nothing I can do about that, and no sense in screaming, this is not fair. It's just, it is what it is. You have to do the best you can with what you got. So I do it by making sure I engage with as many people as I can and just be super positive and definitely, hopefully not come across as too threatening, right? So we get in the first vote. Now, I have not watched it, but I heard rumblings that my name was thrown out before the first vote. This is how it works. You basically, the quick and dirty of it is everybody votes one person and that one person votes one of the other people out. And that one person generally gets to talk to everybody else one-on-one, but only that one person. So everybody else just sits in a quiet room while that one person talks to everybody else, and then they come back and make their decision. So it's a bit nerve-wracking. You can't do anything. I'll do another podcast where I talk about how the game is seen from the player's perspective. For those of you that are interested and want to know, I'll give you that, but I'm not going to do that here. Right now, we're just going to get through the quick and dirty of the way the game went for me in 15, 20 minutes. So, came to the first vote. I did not do a good job of talking with the first person. And there will be spoilers in this, by the way. So, for goodness sakes, don't listen if you don't want spoilers. If you want to go watch it, I have linked to it multiple ways, and I will certainly link to it again. But it's called The Spotlight. I think it's thespotlightgames.com, I think is the URL. I'm not even sure. But I've posted about it. I'll send you an email link if you want it. That's as much as I can do. Just contact me. So, with that, on with the, quote, spoilers of the order that people went out. So, first off, as I said, the first person in charge, the first spotlight was Tasia. And God, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm double thinking myself now. I'm 99% sure it's Tasia, right? Tasia. Tasia. Yes. And I was one of the latter people to go in and talk to her, and we got along fine. I just didn't have a sense of where things were at, and I don't remember even I threw anybody under the bus or said any names. I don't think I had an opportunity. One of the nice things about it being a quick talk, you only have 1 minute to talk to these people, is you can get cut off before you say a name. Oops, didn't say a name. Again, that can also be a curse, though, because if you aren't saying a name, then you can be looked at as, well, they're not willing to say a name, get rid of them, right? It's both. But I just kind of thought, well, I'm either going to be, I praised her, and these are sincere things, by the way. You're not saying it just, you're saying it to play the game, but you're also mean well. So I had written down what she talked about in her intro. I referred to that. I gave her praise, and I just crossed my fingers that she didn't target me. I hope she had a worse interaction with someone else to start with. And as it turned out, she didn't vote me out. She voted out somebody else. In this case, it was Drake, who that's the only thing. I never got to talk to Drake. Sorry, Drake. Would have liked to known you, but you were gone. And that's kind of what happens. And then the next one was a twist right away. They did a twist right away. And I believe Jessica was the second one. We got to vote. This is where things went my way. Okay, so the next, after Drake got voted out, then they announced a twist where we would vote for someone to be the spotlight, but no one would know. In theory, that person could keep it a secret. And they didn't have to reveal it. And we would secretly talk to the spotlight. Well, we would secretly talk in groups of like 3, I think, and because there was 12 of us, so there's 4 groups of 3, and the spotlight person would be in one of those groups, but they might not reveal themselves, and so you wouldn't know, right? Okay, so again, this is where a person named Jessica was very active about wanting to get it, and a couple of people threw out her name, and we all kind of seemed to come to a consensus, yep, we're all going to vote for Jessica. And you didn't know for sure. You sometimes people do that and they do something else, but I had a sense that's the way it was going to go, and then she seemed to indicate that she got it, so we all kind of knew. Now, the stroke of luck that happened, and I've been told that the pairings and everything is determined randomly, but this was a wonderful, cool, serendipitous, if that's the correct use of that word, moment, because the first 3 people in a room were myself, Jessica, and Marquise. Now, Marquise, I don't know if I know Marquise, but one of the people that I know from playing Sequester, Mark, who was on Squid Games later, had said he was rooting for me and for Marquise. And I'm like, okay, Mark knows Marquise. I'm going to try to work with Marquise. Maybe Marquise knows me or knows me from Sequester or something, so I need to have him on my good side, and I will gladly work with him. So the first 3 people in a room are myself, Jennifer, and Marquise. And it was like, okay, let's do this. And I got in, and we're like, we want to work together. All 3, and we're just like, okay, let's do this. Let's lock this down right now, because it's always a good thing to lock down an alliance as quick as you can and hope it's a serious alliance. And we came up with names. I don't even know if I threw out the names. I just went along with whatever they said. It was like, they were like Tasia and who do I have? I got to look down. Davion, who goes by Dave, or he's known as he's a podcaster, which I probably have seen his podcast, but Davion and I'm sorry, and Tasia were the 2 that weren't in the room that were first mentioned, and then they added in Steven as a 6th. So we had a 6-person alliance. It's like, okay, we need to talk to them ASAP. Who are we going to vote for the next, to be the next, whatchamacallit, spotlight? I'm sorry, I just can't get that word. It just doesn't float in my head very easily. And so we came up with the person, and that's why I'm trying to remember. Who did we do? I think we decided on Steven. I think we decided to push for Steven based on who we'd already talked to, or who we might talk to. He'd been asking for it. Oh, I'm going to have to go back and redo this. Yeah, I can't remember how the flow was. I need to have it all written out. It's a bit of a blur. It was a bit of a fast, but however it worked out, we decided on who to be the next spotlight. It may have been Marquise. No, I don't think it was Marquise. But in any case, we kind of came to an agreement. That's what we're going to do. Let's make it work for the next round. And so we got done. Jessica voted out Jovo. Again, you're a person who is a victim of circumstance. You didn't get into the right alliances quick enough. It's nothing in particular that you did, other than maybe you were, then I'm not talking specifically to Jovo, but just in general, the person might have been a little bit too quiet or something, or didn't catch somebody's eye. It's just one of those things. You are always looking for an easy target. So, Jovo was the next out, and yeah, I don't have my list of order of spotlight people, so this will be a bit confusing. I just have the order of evictions or vote outs, and that's okay. I just want to get to the main highlights of what I thought. I thought I'm doing okay. I am in a, quote, 6-person alliance, and if we make a 6-person alliance work, that will be solid. I can get at least to jury, and that's all I wanted to do, was to get to jury, because that's when the real backstabbing starts. You don't see, if people can get to jury, and it's only a 6-person, well, it's a 5-person jury, right? There's only 7, and then you have a 5-person jury. So I wanted to get to the top 7, which isn't bad out of 13. It's the halfway point. You got to dodge some bullets to be able to do that. So Jovo was the next out, and then Jason. We went through all of the people that we wanted. Steven got spotlight. Marquise got spotlight. Already had Jessica and Tasia, and then Davion got it. So all of my alliance mates had gotten it, and we had a chance in one-on-ones. I had a chance in one-on-ones to talk to each one of them to kind of say, okay, yeah, we're good, right? Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're going to this. Yes, who are we going to get out next, or how are we doing this? And eventually it came down to, well, I was going to be the next spotlight. I was the last person left. So it's like, okay, I got voted to be the next spotlight. At this point, Gigi had gone out, and Gigi also revealed that she played on Sequester, which I kind of vaguely seems familiar, but I don't think we ever played together. But that apparently became a reason to target her by some people. And then Mac, who said I reminded her of her father, which I'll take as a compliment. I don't know if it was just kissing up, but I never got to talk to Mac either. But she went. It could have been Davion that voted her out. I'm not even sure. But that's part of the thing. When you're in an alliance, you kind of help the other, well, let's make this person. You kind of guide the conversation towards that person, right? So for me, it was like, well, I'm the next obvious choice. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I was kind of like, I'm kind of pretending like it seems kind of, oh, sure. But in reality, you're also thinking, yep, it's my turn. And so I got voted to be the next spotlight. And so, of course, there's a twist. And in this case, the twist was you have to vote out someone who's already been in spotlight. Well, all of my alliance members are the only people that have been in the spotlight. So I had 5 people to choose from. Every one of them were in my alliance. So I was kind of, in some ways, kind of screwed. In other ways, it actually made it easy for me. I was probably going to vote out, to be honest. It was going to be between Paige and Kelsey of the ones that were left. And obviously, if you haven't watched it, you're not going to know these names. But that's what it was. I was going to pick between Paige and Kelsey to be voted out. But because I didn't have a choice. I had to vote out one of my own alliance members. And so I went with the easy choice, which was Steven, because Steven was the last one. When Jessica, Marquise, and I were talking, he was the last one put into the bucket of alliance people. So it's like, okay, well, sorry, Steven, you got to go. And so as I did my one-on-ones with everybody, I basically told all my alliance members, I'm voting out Steven. That's who's going. He was the last one in. It's logical. That's what we got to do. It sucks, but that's what it is. And everybody was, of course, okay with it. And then for Paige and Kelsey, who were the other 2 non-alliance people that were left, I was just able to say, well, obviously you're not going, you're safe. I tried to feel them out for who they thought we should go after. I wasn't getting a lot of feedback. I did get, at least one of them said Jessica. I can't remember which, and I'm not trying to be, sly about it, because this is all available. You can go watch it on YouTube. But I just wasn't sure, but I was like, well, then it's, okay, well, maybe Jessica, I know Jessica's now in the back of my mind. Is it okay? People had brought up her name, which means some of my alliance members may have brought up her name before. I have to keep that in mind. So, I may have said Kelsey to Tasia, and that's the problem. I don't think I did. I think I just said Steven, but I may have talked about going in the future, and I may have said Kelsey to Tasia. I kind of wonder if I did. I don't know for sure. But you have to remember that just because you think you're in an alliance doesn't mean, A, it's the only alliance those other people are in, and B, it may not be your only alliance, right? So it's you're taking risks, and there is definitely a luck factor involved here. But anyways, so I voted out Steven, and in the next twist, we had said, or I had thought, that Jessica had said, I will ask to be it again, because I was kind of the victim of a twist. But as soon as it started back up, people pushed for Kelsey to get it. I was kind of like, oh, no, it wasn't Kelsey. It was for Paige to get it. hang on. Nope, I'm wrong. It was for Kelsey. Kelsey got it. It was like, okay. Went through, talked to Kelsey. I wasn't real comfortable with that chat. I felt a bit awkward. She didn't seem very committed to me, obviously, and where this is heading, she wasn't. I got to go back and watch this, but I just didn't have a great feeling about it. I was a little bit paranoid that I was going to go. But as it turned out, the next person to go was Jessica, who was not happy. If you happen to hear this, Jessica, obviously you weren't happy. She felt betrayed. I don't blame her, but she had something else going apparently that I wasn't aware of. So Jessica went out. So now two of our Alliance members are gone. We're down to 4 Alliance members and 2 non-Alliance members. And now the heat's starting to pick up, right? And so Marquise had said he wanted to be we wanted to be back at it too. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll push for Marquise. And so I was pushing for Marquise. He was asking for it. And I voted for Marquise. And it was a tie. It was a tie between Marquise and Paige, who had never had it. But Paige had been so quiet the entire time. And Paige had been saying, I really don't want to vote anybody out, which to me was putting a huge target on her. I said to, I think, Kelsey, Paige doesn't want to vote anybody out. That's who I would go after. But as it turns out, we have the vote, and there's only 6 people left, and we vote, and it's a tie between Paige and Marquise. Well, I'm looking at the room now. It's Marquise, me, and Davon, 3 guys, and Kelsey, Tasia, and Paige, 3 ladies. And it's like, okay, I'm reading the room here. I'm guessing maybe Davon and I voted for Marquise, and Kelsey and Tasia voted for Paige. Now, I don't know for sure, but that's what I was seeing it as. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, it was a tie. And if we vote again, Marquise and Paige don't get to vote. But all that means is that it could be another 2-2 tie. And if it's a tie for the second time, then the previous spotlight person gets to pick. And in my brain, I was thinking, well, that means that it'll be a tie again, and Kelsey will get to pick, and Kelsey will pick Paige, and it's a women's alliance, and I'm screwed, potentially. So I made the decision then, because I didn't think there was any way Marquise was going to get it, even if I voted for Marquise again. So I thought, and I said it in the chat to Paige afterwards, I'm voting for Paige, and I did, and Paige got it. Now, I haven't seen the votes to know if my vote was the difference or how the votes actually went, but I think I will get to see the votes eventually. I think they show them. But, that was kind of my Hail Mary, and I told Paige I voted for her. I don't think she heard me. I don't think she heard me at all, and I don't know if it mattered, because she already had a solid alliance. And as it turned out, Paige voted me out, and I didn't blame her, and I was gone, and that was my time on Spotlight. Now I did get to sit around for the rest of the period for them to work it out, and I got to vote, got to ask a jury question. So I was the second juror, which, hey, you know what? Out of 13 to make 6th, I'll take it. I will take it. It's if you make the jury, you've done a good job. If you weren't being dragged. Now, I don't think I was being dragged along. You never can say for sure, because I'm not even 100% sure that people aren't still playing the game in case we ever play again, right? I would be dead honest about mine. I was locked in with Marquise. I kind of promised Davion I would go with him too, but I was really solid with Marquise. And I don't know if that meant anything. I was solid to the Alliance too. Again, it is what it is. So that was my experience. I had a blast. You should sign up. Look it up. Fill out the form. You find out a week ahead of time if you're on it, and get all nervous. I didn't get nervous till right beforehand, and then that morning of when I started to rewatch episodes, like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. But I have arrived at my destination. I'm going to sign off. I will definitely be talking more about this in the next few days. So pardon me while I get a bit over talkative about this show, but it was a blast, and they put on a good product. You should check it out. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening. Be well. Bye-bye.